thought about this thing I had under my armpit. I had a lump there for a long time, several years. It was an enlarged lymph node. It was about the size of a quarter, maybe, and I could even grab a hold of it. And it was tender. I'd had it biopsied a couple years prior. They were watching it. It was not cancer. It was just an enlarged lymph node. Well, when I went to get that device out, I couldn't feel it. It was gone.
Hey, Sally, thanks for coming to spend some time with me today.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So, Sally, can you start off just by talking a little bit about how you're feeling prior to coming to QHS, a little history?
Sure. I was raised in California in the Bay Area, and
That's where I live.
oh, really?
Yeah. What
little
city?
town, Pleasant Hill, Concord.
Oh, yeah, about an hour
Oh,
north from me.
I was a great place to grow up, and I was blessed, and I humbly say this, that I had a really loving family, and I had a deep religious background with my parents who raised me to learn about Christ, about God. And I say that because that's really just part of who I am. And I'm deeply appreciative of them for the things they taught. Now, my dad also loved to read books. And in that time period, he was reading a book about the power of positive thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Remember that book at all?
Yep.
And I was pretty little, but he'd read it to me at night. And he talked to me about faith and about being positive, and it sounds like manifesting today. He'd say what you put out is what you're going to get back. And he taught me that faith and fear can't exist together, and that I should watch my words and my thoughts, because if you're negative, that's not faith. So that really paved the way for my rest of my life. I can't thank him enough for teaching me those things and lots of things. And so I've always chosen to see the happy parts of my life. And the case in point is that my friend that I'd known since I was a little girl, she came to visit me, and it was really fun to see her. And she says, "Sally, you were always sick." And I said, "No, I wasn't." She says, "You were." And she says, "I remember, I was there." And so that girl in me, that the glass half full girl, I had to admit that she was right. I was always sick. And so as a little girl, I remember crying at night because I had earaches. And did your mom ever take the teaspoon and put a little olive oil in it, and she'd hold it over the burner on the stove and get it just slightly warm, and then she'd have you lay on your side, and she'd pour it in my ear, and it felt soothing, put a little cotton in there. It's funny what you do remember. But yeah, lots of nights crying with that. Then I was 15, I got mono. I had to stay home for about 4 months, and a teacher came and taught me at school so that I could keep the credits so I could graduate. But it was so bad, I had such terrible headaches. And then I did graduate, and I was excited to go to college out of state and away from home, And I get there, and dang, mono came back.
Wow.
And this time it was really bad. My neck was so swollen, I couldn't turn my head. I went into yellow jaundice. So the doctor there at school said, "You've got to go home." So here comes my dad back and got me. And it took me 6 months to recover from that time.
Wow.
Well, then I attended a local college, met my husband there. We were married a year later. And by the way, next year in March, it'll be our 50th anniversary.
No way.
It's gone by
over 50. Wow.
Yeah, right. It's gone by in a blink. And I was 19 when I got married. 10 years later, I had 6 kids. So all that, it's been a happy life I've had, but I do choose to see or focus on the happy times. A few years after all that, my kids were born, I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed with not hypothyroidism. I had hypothyroidism. Can't say it, but Hashimoto's. So my thyroid was encased in a with a growth, and it kind of stuck out a little bit like a goiter. And he said that Hashimoto's was new to him, and he said if I had my thyroid surgically removed, then I would not have Hashimoto's anymore. And so I said, yay, let's do it. So can you believe it? I was so excited to have that thing removed and maybe get rid of the ups and downs of the thyroid kicking in sometimes and sometimes not. So I did that, and it didn't go as smoothly as he said it would, but it helped. I'm just showing a little pattern that I had my whole life of being sick, and then living my life in between, being sick, just constantly sick, everything that goes around, it felt like I'd catch. And for a long time. So to get up to current times, when I was searching the net one day, I came across Cynthia talking to Mel Carmine, and that's where she was introducing the bed, she called it. And what struck me so much about that conversation was her genuineness. And I just felt something. And I loved the way she talked openly about God and about how God had brought this to us to help humanity. And that just really touched me. So I got online and looked it up and joined. Of course, as I started watching the Zoom calls, then there was that core group that was there. And they also were very genuine and loving. And so, of course, I wanted to volunteer. So I did those early calls. Then I was a moderator. I still am sometimes. And then to admin. I think that that love that people feel when they watch is kind of unique. And it's real. You know, I moderated a Twine call a couple times ago, and the question was, the burning question that we were discussing was, what do you most want to manifest through the QT wave, the home healing system, and the QARC? Their answers were really amazing to me and really touched me. I had some great people. There were 10 people in my room, and every one of them had something they wanted, you know, mostly health or maybe some specific things, but every single one said they wanted to help others.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think out of a whole group of people, isn't that amazing? There's that much love. And I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's the truth. And it just feels good. It makes you feel like you're at home when you're there.
Called. It's the it's being called.
That's right.
This work.
It's no accident that we're all together. It makes you feel like God has a purpose for you.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You gotta find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I got my QT wave finally, and I didn't feel any reaction to it right at the very beginning, like everybody else seemed to. But I did notice that as I laid down at night, sometimes I could put that device right on the top of my head, and I could feel this kind of buzz. It was a good buzz feeling. That's how I thought that was cool. About 2 weeks after having the device, I would always put it in my bra like us ladies do.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to take it out, and I thought about this thing I had under my armpit. I had a lump there for a long time, several years. It was an enlarged lymph node. It was about the size of a quarter maybe, and I could even grab a hold of it. And it was tender. I'd had it biopsied a couple years prior. They were watching it. It was not cancer. It was just an enlarged lymph node. Well, when I went to get that device out, I couldn't feel it. It was gone, just
Woohoo!
gone. Woohoo. The same thing happened that I had a little fibroid tumor in my breast, and they'd been watching that too. And when I went in for the ultrasound recently, they couldn't find it. So both
Wow.
of those things were gone. Those are little things, but it was a big, big thing to me. Another thing that had happened is I years ago was chasing my plane with one of my grandkids, and he was hiding in the bathtub with the shower curtain closed. When I ran in there, my foot caught on the rug, slipped, and I smashed my toes into the tub. It was so dumb, and broke my toes. Of course, you can't do anything about broken toes. They just told me to tape them together and let it go. Well, they grew really stiff and kind of hurt still for years. Well, one night I woke up in the middle of the night and my two toes were just killing me. This is kind of like Cynthia's story that she tells.
Yeah.
And I suffered with it all night. In the morning, it was gone. I could bend my toes up and down, and it's gone. It's just gone. My toes feel like they never were broken. So I think that was kind of like a little Herxmeyer, however you say it.
Yeah.
Herxmeyer, where I guess I had to revisit it, and then it's healed. So, I think things are happening all over. Here's another stupid one. As you get older, you can't bend like you used to. And, my washer and dryer are on the floor. And so to reach in, and the front load, to reach in and get your clothes out of the washer, I have to really bend down in there and pull them out. Well, I was having trouble doing that. And one day I just realized, hey, this is no big deal. I can easily do it. It's like that. And so sometimes people are looking for these huge things, but it's the little things like Dr. A says. The biggest thing of all, my big wahoo, is that I have hardly been sick. That I've had my device now for 9 months, and I've maybe been sick twice. Just recently, I had the flu. That is a miracle for me, a real miracle that I've been able to get through all these months and not feel sick. So it's wonderful, and I love my QT Wave device. I do. I want to have it with me always. And I love the key program. And the key program to me that Christine and Laura do is a lot like, it reminds me of the things I learned with my father. So it kind of makes me feel like QHS has brought me full circle back to my dad, the things he taught, because, he taught about what you put out. Like I was saying, you get back, and those are things they're teaching us, how to choose the things in our own realities, to focus on things that are joyous and our true selves. And so I'm just really grateful to it. And I would encourage anybody to do that key program. So
I agree.
that's my story.
That's amazing, Sally. I just think it's so beautiful how you have such a wonderful relationship with your father.
Yeah, he's passed away now, but he truly was a good man. And, he lectured me a lot. So I didn't, like I was saying, I didn't always appreciate that. It seemed like lecturing, but now as I'm an adult and have had kids, I realize it wasn't lecturing. He was just sharing me things he was learning. And wherever we go, he'd be telling me stuff. So
I think that's
I'm really
beautiful.
grateful. I'm really grateful for it.
And you forgot about your hair.
Oh, my hair. My hair, I was dark brown, and my hair, as I grayed, it was pretty light. And now all of a sudden I'm starting to get dark. Can't see a little bit, but the dark hairs, little baby hairs coming out that are dark.
Yeah, it's like a shadow almost.
Getting more colors. I wonder if it's going to go dark brown again.
Probably.
And if I was to answer that question about what I would want to manifest at dark, I would have that same answer, that I would want to be healthy so I could help others. But sure would be nice to lose some weight, you know? I struggle with it, especially with my thyroid issues. And so that would be a real perk.
Yeah, thyroid is really, really a difficult thing when you get that hypo or Hashimoto's. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a head scratcher. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest. So yeah, so then that brings us to the Q art question. What are you gonna do? You have all this beautiful knowledge that your dad imparted to you and that you've gathered also on your own. And now you can apply it to a do-over with a 30-year-old body. And that 30-year-old perfect
I
body has a thyroid and dark
I
hair.
know. I can't wait. I'm so glad we could get that chance again. And but we still retain our knowledge, the things we've learned. I wouldn't want to go back and start over without that.
Right.
We've
I'm
learned.
still learning. Are you kidding?
Yeah. And that's what's great about it. I've been talking about how admirable I think it is that people want to help others. And so one of the things that I would like to do is have some clinics. I think that'd be a good
Nice.
way. And, QHS is providing us with many different things that we can do to help others. Like I see myself being involved in the Valor Project. And then when the RV happens, then hopefully I can have the funds to start up those clinics. So,
Right.
and all we have to do is look around. There's always things you can do. Just the fact that we're here um, and participating in this at this time, like we're meant to, think about the different people that we can help in our own families
Oh, I know.
or people and maybe that's the purpose, even simply that. So there's lots of things we could do.
Well, we're the trailblazers, like literally, there's so many people who were not called to this work. I tried to share it with other people and they didn't bite, right? And so I just feel it's okay. They're just not called yet. But after we get out of the Q arc, they're going to be, I mean, it's going to be like Black Friday or what is it? Black Friday. I mean, everybody's going to be wanting
Yeah,
in.
I think you're right. And you probably do like I do. I have family members that just really don't get it, don't understand it. But uh,
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I can be here because they will sometime, like you say.
Mm-hmm. They will
So
for sure. They're not going to be able to deny it and they're going to be excited.
no,
So I just stay within my
that's
heart
right.
and just know that everything's going to work out in God's
Uh-huh.
timing.
Yeah. And all we know inside is that we couldn't deny that feeling we got and we had to do something.
Yeah,
And then think of it, there's thousands like that. That's really cool.
I know. It's so exciting to be a part of a big family.
Uh-huh.
So what are you going to do? What's your life going to look like then?
What's it going to look like? I am going to have so much fun with my grandkids. I'm going to feel like playing and running around with them. We have horses. I'd like to ride my horses again. I haven't done that in years. They've been more like just pets lately. Um, I like to do water sports. And so all these things that as you get older, or the limits you a little bit. I won't have those limits anymore.
Nice.
I like to keep up a pace too. It seems lately like it takes me longer to do things and I'm slower and I'm not getting things done like as much as I used to. It'd be nice to be able to have energy again.
Yeah. Do you feel
Yeah,
like your energy's improved with your device?
a little bit. Yeah, I do.
So the thyroid is basically,
I still feel sluggish sometimes with my thyroid missing. And I do take that medicine that levels it out, but sometimes it's a struggle.
yeah. I can see that. I mean, I've had clients with thyroid and it's definitely a challenge. I read a good book. Well, you don't have Hashis anymore because you got rid of the thyroid, but I got to remember what the book was because it might be interesting to you because there's a reason you got the Hashi. So it's like about
Mhm.
the root cause. But I read this book in like 2015 and it changed my outlook on nutrition. And gosh, I wish I could remember. I interviewed the author of it, and Dr. Isabella Wentz, Hashimoto's cure or something. I'll find it and you can
Yeah,
read it, because
I'd love to
I
read
like
it.
to look at, well, why did you get, my mom has
Yeah.
Hashimoto's, like, why did you get this? What was the cause? Let's work on that. So then we can avoid, having it or fixing it or whatever, or getting it again. So I'll find that for you.
I'd appreciate that. I've always wondered myself, and this is just my theory. I have no really proof of this, but I've always wondered if it had anything to do with sugar, like eating so much sugar. And when I was born, they made their own formula, and my mother didn't nurse me for some reason. I don't know in that time period if it wasn't cool or whatever, but she told me when she made formula for me, it was canned milk mixed with water and a little bit of corn syrup. So you got a little sweetness, and then it just seemed like I was addicted to sugar forever. I'm not so bad right now, and the device has helped me not to have those sugar cravings too. But I don't know. I just remember always having a little treat after dinner.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
know what
know
you mean.
if it was
My mom
sugar.
was that way. My mom, when I was
She-
cleaning out her house, I was in her pots and pans cupboard when we were moving her, and I found like a pie. I'm finding all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, Mom, why do you have
Yeah.
a pie down here?
Well, after dinner, it seems like it's a habit too. It's like psychological, because after dinner now, I still get that little, oh, I got to have something sweet feeling, because we always ate our treats right after dinner.
Oh, I have a great tip for that. So I have a recipe that I have every night, and you get this tea by the brand Yogi. It's a caramel bedtime tea. And I brew that up, and then I dump it in the blender and mix it with a scoop of chocolate protein, a collagen protein. So it's good for your hair, skin, and nails. And then I whip it up, and it's like all frothy, like a latte. So it helps me sleep. It helps my hair, skin, and nails, and it satisfies that sweet craving. So it's like a dual purpose. It serves like as a dessert. It's so amazing.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, even my husband now is on it.
I'll have to get that from you.
He doesn't do anything I do. Like he how it is, right? Jesus wasn't a prophet in his own town.
Yes.
Tracy's not a health coach in her own house. So
that's pretty typical.
Right. I know. It's crazy.
You'll have to post that recipe.
Okay. It's funny because Peggy's going to be posting a recipe maybe once a week in the newsletter now, because it started with that electrolyte recipe. So, but I'll do that. I'll share that on the chatty chat, because it's so amazing.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, my darling, you are beautiful, and I can't believe that you've been married almost 50 years. You look so young.
Oh, you're so nice. Thank you.
Have you always looked young, or was it the device?
I think I have always looked young. The weight that I feel like I've put on makes me look I feel like makes me look older, but I do notice my skin is so much better on the device. I notice it feels like less wrinkles. So yeah, okay. Let's say it's the device.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good for us all then.
Thank
all
you.
Right. Well, thank you for coming
all
on,
right.
my darling. Have a beautiful day.
Okay, you too.
Okay.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.